What's going on, guys? It's Hank from SpruesNBrews, and welcome to this week's episode of the SpruesNBrews Scale Model Showcase, a weekly series where I get to show off some of the best scale models, all built by you guys, submitted from all around this wonderful world of scale modeling. I've got some really impressive work to share with you guys today, so let's jump right into it. You guys know the drill. Grab yourself a beverage, get cozy, let's check it out. Alright, so our first feature today comes to us from our neighbors up north by way of Toronto, Canada. This beautiful Thunderbolt was sent in by Chris of Warbirds and Scale on Instagram, and there's a lot to love about this build. Chris built up to me his excellent P47D Razorback kit in 148 scale for this project, and picked up a set of Thunder Cows decals to recreate Snafu of the 83rd Fighter Squadron's 78th Fighter Group out of Duxford, England in the fall of 1944. Absolutely fantastic work with the invasion stripes here, as well as that iconic checkerboard nose flash. Very nice job. The weathering on this bird is also top shelf. Chris used a whole bunch of techniques on this, including pin washes, airbrush work, oil streaking, and some chipping with the trusty Prismacolor silver pencil. It's really easy to go overboard with weathering and lose that sense of realism, especially at this scale, but Chris has absolutely nailed the balance here. I love me a good Razorback bolt, and this one was absolutely lovely. I might just have to pick me up another one of these kits. It's been a while since I built one up. So thank you, Chris, for sharing Snafu with us. If you guys want to check out some more of Chris's stuff, be sure to pop over to Warbirds in Scale on Instagram and give him a follow. He's about halfway through a really nice A6 Intruder project right now, and I really can't wait to see how that one comes out. Our next build is another 148 scale Warbird coming to us from over in Switzerland, and this one is after my own heart. You guys know I'm a bit of a BF109 junkie, so I couldn't pass this one up. This thoroughly Swiss BF109 E3 comes to us from host Chris Vea, host of the Rusty Scale Show over on YouTube. Now, as I mentioned, 109 is always going to catch my attention, but when I read a little bit about what Chris had done here, I knew I had to get this one on the Scale Model Showcase today. Because not only is this Chris's first Tamiya kit, this is also his first 148 scale build altogether. And I'd say bravo. Very nice execution, especially for a first time effort. Chris built this bird up using Tamiya's little special release BF109 E3 in Swiss markings that came out a couple years ago in 2020. It's mostly built out of the box with a few nice scratch-built additions, including some seatbelts and brake cable details made out of masking tape and copper wire, respectively. The 109 was primed up with a coat of Vallejo gray primer, followed by some black pre-shading for the panels, and then was painted up using Vallejo acrylics. For a finishing touch, we've got a nice bit of antenna wire using some Ammo MIG superfine rigging wire. A little info on Chris: he started his scale modeling journey in the beginning of 2018 and is off to a great start, tackling mostly World War II era aircraft with a few exceptions here and there. You can find photos of more of Chris's work on Instagram at Chris_Vea. He's sneaking close to that magic 1,000 follower mark, so let's try and get him across the finish line. You can also subscribe to his channel Chris Vea on YouTube for some really entertaining scale modeling videos. He hosts the Rusty Scale Show and is really natural and charismatic behind the camera. I had a really good time watching some of his stuff as I was prepping for this video, and I think you guys will enjoy him too. So be sure to check out Chris's channels and give him a follow and a subscribe. Thanks, Chris, for sending in your lovely Swiss BF109 E3 today, and keep up the good work. Now, for a quick pause for the folks that might be new to the channel, you're probably wondering how you can submit one of your own builds for a chance to get featured on the SpruesNBrews Scale Model Showcase. And it's super easy. It should just take you a couple of minutes. First, send me an email with 3 images of your build to SpruesNBrewsScaleModeling@gmail.com. Be sure to include Scale Model Showcase in the subject line, or you can DM me your pictures on Instagram at SpruesNBrews. Number 2, tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the build. Who makes the kit? What aftermarket parts did you use? What supplies did you use? Etc. I also want to hear about you. Where are you from? Where can people find your stuff on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook? And how did you get into scale modeling? And number 3, be sure to subscribe right here to SpruesNBrews Scale Modeling on YouTube. You'll be supporting the channel, and as a bonus, you'll be the first to know when the next Scale Model Showcase comes out. Easy as that. Whether you're a longtime veteran builder or you're just getting into the hobby, I'm taking all comers here. I know how hard it can be to get your name out there and share your talent with this incredible community of builders, so I'm here to help. Alright, with all that said, let's get back to the showcase. Our next feature today is a fantastic 135 scale diorama coming to us from one of Rusty Scale's neighbors to the north, up in Germany. This awesome scene was built up by Nils of Bieber Hunter Scale Models, and I really enjoyed watching this one come together over on his Instagram account. Nils worked on this scene for the better part of a year, and I think his hard work has definitely paid off. I love this dio. First off, the Sherman itself is an M4A376, spliced together from a couple of different artillery kits. The hull is from their M4A3 Calliope, and the turret is borrowed from an M4A176 kit. The Dozer blade, which I admit I'm a little jealous of, is the classic Verlinden set and it's weathered to perfection. Nils also has added some aftermarket metal tracks, resin stowage, and a whole pile of sandbags from Jewella Scenics for a little extra protection there. The whole farmhouse and shed were scratch built from foam, which is super impressive in itself, and I really love how these came out. And to finish it all off, we've got some beautifully painted crew figures from Alpine Miniatures enjoying a few brews over in the corner there. I gotta say, I wish I could join them for one. Cheers, fellas. There's so much detail in this build that I could spend a lot more time highlighting, but I'll let Nils do the job for you. Be sure to pop over to his Instagram at Bieber Hunter Scale Models for a whole bunch of work in progress pictures, and you can subscribe to Bieber Hunter Scale Models on YouTube. He's got a few super helpful videos on how he built up this whole scene from start to finish. Some info about Nils: he got back into the scale modeling scene in 2020 and pretty quickly got hooked on 135 scale World War II builds. He's most passionate about scenes on the Western Front, like this lovely diorama we checked out today, and I really think his channel is going to take off. Some awesome stuff going on over there. So thank you, Nils, for sharing your Sherman Dozer dio with us today. Awesome work. All right, so that's it for us today on this episode of the SpruesNBrews Scale Model Showcase. A huge thank you to Chris, and Nils for your submissions this week. Fantastic work on all accounts. Very nice job. Be sure to check out their accounts and give them a subscribe and a follow. I'll have links for all their socials in the description below. And another thank you to everyone who sent in builds this week. I've got a big list of all the awesome projects I want to share with you guys. So if you didn't see your work on the channel this week, be sure to tune back in for our next episode next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. You might just recognize one of your own builds. If you missed last week's episode, you can check it out right here. And until next time, guys, be well, happy building, cheers.